So the way I like to look at things is, in tangent with science, because it gives us a better perspective of understanding Kabbalah. That means our tradition, our philosophy in how to look at it on a Kabbalistic level.
Okay.
I'm not talking about simple reading, but rather on a Kabbalistic level. So this is what it is. So we have to understand that, as I mentioned to you now, that everything that a person does in this lifetime is for his own benefit. Anybody who to say it's for the benefit of Hashem is mistaken, because Hashem, as a perfect being by definition, does not need anything. It's silly to say that you're praying to Hashem and you're giving him benefit. Okay. Now, even though there are sources in our literature that says you're giving him nachas ruach, and they brought him korbanos and against nachas ruach, that's only for us to understand. In the same way that it says that Hashem gets angry and gets upset, Hashem is sad. Those are, as the Kabbalists say, it's Loshon B'nei Odom. The Gemara says actually, it's Loshon B'nei Odom. It's only for us to get a reference to what's happening vis-a-vis our understanding of retribution, because it's sort of a mirror image. When we do something bad, we're going to get punished. Okay? It's not because Hashem is angry, but rather the system that Hashem put into place will not allow that to happen, because he's trying to direct the civilization in a particular way. And that's why the Mabul came, and that's why, the Tower of Babel fell, because it's not going in the direction for the ultimate good of man. Not because he got angry or scared that they were going to take over, like the story of Babel. That's nonsense. But rather, it's to put the direction of the world back in its place. Again, so everything that Hashem does is for absolutely our benefit, 110%. Anybody who thinks otherwise is just not thinking straight. Okay, that's the ABC. Now, you have to understand that as we're doing everything for our own good, what we are is that we are spiritualizing our experience. Meaning every experience, we look at it as just an experience, something that we put away, but rather, we put away in the past, but rather there's no such thing as lost energy. It's called in physics called the laws of conservation of energy. The laws of conservation of energy says that they've proven this mathematically, according to physics, that there's no such thing as energy being lost. Rather, it's converted to some other energy. There's no such thing that something would, even a burning star, a star that explodes, the energy of that star will just go into the energy of the greater whole, but will never get lost.
Yeah.
We're living in an ecosystem that is closed, that everything that you do comes back and goes around. Okay? So if you're online and you're building according to Torah mitzvahs, you are building your future. You are building your spiritual worlds. Okay, you follow me so far?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's fascinating.
There are multiple dimensions. It teaches in Kabbalah. There are multiple dimensions of the spiritual world. Now, we know there is an understanding. There is something called Olam Haba, the next world. That means the next dimension. It's not something which you have to go to, but rather it's a graduation to that. Meaning is that it is, what we understand is that you, with your five souls, why don't you in touch with your five souls? All we're in touch with are nefesh, ruach, and our neshama. That's it. Neshama is between the eyes. That's why we put tefillin by the eyes, okay? But 99% of the neshama is up, then you have the ruach, which is up, and then the chai, which is up. Now, what do we mean by up? That means it's not in these dimensions. Okay? Meditation is a way to lift yourself out of your physical three dimension and get into your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever, as high as you want to go. Okay? Out of these dimensions. So you are living then in multiple dimensions at the same time. You are meaning your extension of your soul. So far, so good?
Yeah.
You get Ruach HaKodesh, you get message. who you get messages from. You know, or of energy, a thought, a gut feeling that this is good or not good. You walk in a dark alley and somebody's telling you, "Oh, this is." You buy a lottery ticket, you feel this is good. I don't know. You know, we get these feelings, deja vu, all these things, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Where's all that coming from? So the unlearned would say it's coming from Hashem. Now, when you hear somebody saying that, you know that he absolutely knows nothing about anything, because Hashem is so generic. It's such a misnomer that to claim that you know what Hashem is ridiculous. Like I mentioned to you in the first class.
Yep. I remember.
All our deepest Kabbalistic traditions tell us that we have no idea what Hashem is. And everything we're discussing here is just a process in which Hashem put into place, and that's what we're observing. That's what He's allowing for us to learn about. But His actual being, no clue, zero, impossible. We have no clues. No clue. We only know that we are building ourselves. Like I said to you a million times, it's for our benefit. We're building our neranchi. Therefore, when you get into meditations and higher levels of consciousness, which you are no longer in the same dimension, you're no longer trapped by time or space, there is no more present, past, or future. You are often, not always, you are often talking, receiving information from yourself in a future sense, talking to you in the past, which is, or in. So when you receive information or an insight or a strong gut feeling, and you go, wow, came from Shemayim, a revelation. That's yourself talking to yourself. Revealing yourself, which is no longer bound by time, coming back in time, speaking to you in the present. That makes sense?
That's best. What's that?
If it doesn't make sense, I'll explain to you again.
So if we're to understand correctly, there's these higher perspectives of self communicate from beyond time.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Higher perspectives of self,
or future self, or
no, it is you.
Essence, a person's essence, or a person.
It's an extension of you. Whatever you are, there's an extension of you, as explained, right? You only are conscious of your nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Agreed? Without your nefesh, ruach, and neshama in your body, you would be dead. You'd be like a log of wood. It comes through that powerful energy which was placed into you, called your soul. Your soul is not limited to this world, to this body. Your soul is also, we say above. It's around, actually. It's a makif. Different dimensions that we're not aware of. Nothing. There's no way of
can't measure it.
Trying to prove it to you. Okay, just from the literature, it's written everywhere that it's there. Why am I not aware of it? In the same way, I'm not aware of any neshama that passes through time, passes from this world, dies basically, and goes to a different world. Why I'm not aware of them, even though they're still here? Because I don't have the kelis, the facilities in my normal conscious self in order to be aware of them. But
Is that related to the Bua de Babua?
Yeah.
Meaning these.
Once, that's right, it's another word for Naranche. So once I'm attached, I'm conscious, I get into that subconscious state of mind where I can get up and above my physical state of awareness, then I can be aware of other neshamas and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Today I'm being more aware of my greater self. And I'm sure you've had experiences where you've gotten tremendous ideas and you might go, where did that come from? And you might have said, it comes from Hashem, right? Which doesn't mean very much. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that it came from you.
Mm.
That's the greater plan of Hashem, right? I told this to somebody, and he said to, you know what? Somebody made a movie about this. I said, really? I said, I don't watch movies, but I'm curious, what is it called? He said, it's called Interstellar.
Oh.
I don't know if you watch a movie, you've seen it or you haven't seen it.
I've heard about it, yeah.
Well, if you have a chance, look at it.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's a part where
I saw
he goes beyond himself and talks to his past. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I saw the movie and it didn't say anything. I could have skipped the whole movie. It was only at the end, like the last 20 minutes, that you see him going through a black hole.
Right.
And he doesn't know what's happening. He finds himself in a time zone. And then his computer friend tells him this is physical time from the fifth dimension being materialized in the third dimension so he can be aware of it because he's a three-dimensional being.
Mm-hmm.
Time, which is not physical, he said it was made, spiritual beings, higher dimensional spiritual beings have created time in a physical three-dimensional world, which is beyond our capacity. He goes back and he sees his daughter as a child and himself,
Mm-hmm.
them past in time. So he's in the future.
And he communicates in the past.
Communicates to them from his future sense into the past.
Right.
And what do they see in the past? In their past, which is their present, they just see books falling, they see phenomena, and they call it a ghost. A ghost is communicating with me. He in the past is going, yeah, it's a ghost. Now he's in the future, he's realizing that it's himself communicating with himself at that present moment in time. Does that make sense?
That's amazing. That's pretty cool. Wow.
And I can't believe they they're going. There's chokhmah by going. There's no doubt about it.
Wow.
So it's a pretty wild thought. Every time, I'm thinking that, I'm not saying it's always like that. A lot of times there are malachim, there's other, it could be ancestors communicating with you. That's true, I'm saying. But I would suggest, I don't know, I'm suggesting that most of the time it's you yourself communicating with yourself. Giving you a heads up. Watch out. That's not a good thing to do. You ever get that feeling?
Sure. Yeah.
Who's placing that thought in your mind? The future is trying to communicate with you. And sometimes you listen to it, sometimes you don't, you regret it. But that's what it's about. It's a loop. You understand what's going on here?
So when a person's enters a certain state of mind, they become more and more sensitized to this phenomenon.
How do you think I know about it?